Hello, welcome to the Music and History Channel. I'm Colin McKay. Today we're going to talk about, music and history, but also legacy. Yeah, legacy. And this story will come through by telling this tale of Frank Zappa. Maybe you're a fan. I know I am. First concert I ever saw. That's a story to tell. And Francesco Zappa. Not to be confused, and nor are they related. So this is about your legacy, anyone's legacy in arts or otherwise. Maybe it's something not even to be contemplated. As Mike Tyson said, legacy means nothing. When you're dead, you're dead. You dust, you dust. I'll refrain from a Mike Tyson impersonation right there. Anyway, one of my favorites, Frank Zappa, was made aware, I think, through a member of his staff about a composer who lived back in the 1700s, and his name was Francesco Zappa. He was an Italian composer. He was, and back then, a lot of times, he was a cellist. If you were making any money with your music, you were employed by royalty, nobility, the church, some form of that, where you might give lessons and different concerts at the behest of your employer. And Francesco was just exactly that. He worked at The Hague, and he was actually even granted Dutch citizenship in his real prime of doing this for the Prince of Orange, 1763 to 1888, those 25 years, his prime time being employed at The Hague. But I think the French Revolution somehow spilled out into the wider European theater and, kind of ended that gig. But why tell you about Francesco Zappa, who lived in the 1700s anyway? Because that's exactly the point. You probably haven't heard of him, probably haven't heard his music, but for his time, he thrived quite well as a working musician, and he toured in Europe and played in different places. And you would have known his music perhaps, but certainly, maybe he did not have enough hits. Maybe, we don't know why, but his music has not survived, say, like Mozart or Beethoven or Bach, etc., the classics, whose names are revered and canonized. But Frank Zappa was curious about the music of Francesco Zappa, if only for obvious reasons of his name and that he was a composer trying to make a buck. And so they unearthed copies of the music, I believe it's transcribed at a library, and Frank then did something very interesting, as Frank always does. He put the music into his synclavier keyboard computer, which at the time was I think it was the first thing he did with the synclavier, so it was all computerized music you kind of typed in. And he released some of Francesco's works under the title Francesco Zappa 1984 album. Yeah. So that's talk about not only bringing Francesco Zappa at time from, say 1784 to 1984, but he really brought him onto the edge of 1984. No pun intended. Yeah. With the futuristic synclavier computerized music. So you have to do yourself a favor and listen to the music of Francesco Zappa as organized, conducted by Frank Zappa in the synclavier keyboard in 1984. And once again, Frank did some interviews, talked about this, and made of note that there are just so many musicians through the history of time that they've come and they've gone, and that's all we can do as artists. And I know I ponder these things. Of course, I'm not employed by the Prince of Orange anyhow, but I do give music lessons, and if you want some music lessons for you, your children, hey, click on the link below, colinmckay.net/lessons, and check out the music of my band, Mystic Twang. We do not do any of Francesco Zappa's music, although every once in a while I do get a request to do Camarillo Brillo by Frank Zappa, but I have not really taken anyone up on that, because it's hard enough. I know Mr. Zappa, both Mr. Zappas would understand. So that's the story of the Music and History Channel 2 day. Wow.